What's up, everybody? This is the Sports League Podcast. Back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak, the co-host, Amanda. On as always, good to have you, Amanda.
Always good to be here.
And we got a special guest, LenDale White, former USC running back, Tennessee Titans running back, all-time great. I mean, those Trojans were so good, and you're a hell of a running back, man. Great to
Man, I
have you.
truly I appreciate it, man. It's good to be on, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that don't know, yeah, LenDale was a former USC running back alongside Reggie Bush, 2004 USC national champion, 35 and 2 record in college football career at USC, rushed for over 3,000 yards and 52 touchdowns, which is still the all-time USC record, ahead of Hall of Famers Marcus Allen and O.J. Simpson, and known as Thunder and Lightning with LenDale and Reggie Bush. Um, Incredible accolades, man.
Nah, hey, God was good. I got a great run while it was going on. I can't be sad or mad about anything that happened in my career, man. Things happen the way
Yeah.
it's supposed to, not the way you want them to. So just even hearing you say some of those things and just thinking about like some of the stats I still do have at the university with all the greats. That's it still makes me feel really good. So
What was it like in that moment to be on that team and be having that much success and being with Reggie and Matt Leinart and Pete Carroll and those guys? Like in the moment, what was that like?
Well, I mean, I think in the moment, I don't really think I took it all in because, now that you're older, you sit back and you realize that you played with two Heisman Trophy winners in 3 years. You played in three straight national championships. Pete Carroll's still going. He has one of the best, teams in the National Football League. I actually just seen Matt I just seen Matt not too long ago at the USC Notre Dame game, and it's just like just thinking about like it's been damn near 20 years, you know what I mean? And it's like how the time has flown by. But I don't think none of us, while we were living, understood what we were living. You know what I mean? It's not till you get a little older and you sit back and it's not you're not in your football life anymore, and you see these other games going on and you hear about these other games, or you watch what's going on and then your name's always brought up with it. It's like that's when I think you start realizing like what other people realized back then. You know what I mean? We were just trying
Yeah.
to win some football games and just trying to be great. We had no idea. I know I didn't have any idea that we would be considered one of the greatest football teams ever, or you can say like winning 32 33 games straight, playing like none of us could ever. We never knew that, but the work we put in, I can see why we did have the success we did.
Yeah.
Well, it's an honor. It's an honor to have you on and to meet you. Was Matt there with his whole family at the game?
No, this week I didn't see the whole family. That was the week
Okay.
before in Colorado. He had brought the whole family out, um, and it was his son and his wife. But it's crazy because he had his first son when we were leaving USC and going into the NFL. Now he's like a sophomore, junior in high school, and
Yeah.
he's a tall stud. Looks just like Matt. It's crazy, man. So it's amazing how the time flies. But time is honestly done most of us, from that era really well.
Yeah. I love watching Matt and his wife Josie on social media. They're hilarious. I feel like they talk
Yeah.
a lot of shit in their relationship, which is how my relationship goes. So they just seem like they're really fun to hang out with. So
I think that I think it's realistic too. Like even making jokes about like sometimes you can be mad, or the fact that Matt probably wouldn't shut up, or that the women don't know how to say I'm sorry. I think that when you can joke inside relationships or do things like that, it probably makes it a lot more fun. And you guys just it's probably don't get tired of one another. You know what I mean? It's always something new. So I'm happy for one of those guys. It's good to see Matt happy, and it's good to just see them on TikTok having a blast.
yeah, agreed.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, Alex has some thoughts about this college football Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah, with those kind of numbers, that's got to be coming up, right? Do you? that's got to be on deck, right? With those numbers, that's incredible.
Listen, it's crazy. We actually, um, I've seen a few people go into the Hall of Fame. I don't know, man. I don't know how that thing works, but when you look at it, and it's like if I think about some of the people before me that's in the College Football Hall of Fame, and like you just said, I got more touchdowns and just around the
Yeah.
same amount of yards. You know what I'm saying? Like when you think about it, I don't see why it wouldn't be something that's realistic for sure. The fact that we played in 3 straight national championships. And I think before the BCS Bowl era was over, I had like another record for having like the most touchdowns in the BCS, like rushing touchdowns, BCS Bowl games combined. I think it was me and Vince Young or something like that. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I can see myself, in that in that Hall of Fame, but it's up to whoever I guess the voters are.
Well,
Yeah.
we're rooting for it. We think you should be in for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
feel like they're a
appreciate
bit
that.
more cloak and dagger about their process than the NFL is. Like the NFL is like very straightforward. Like you know who's coming up, like what class
Right.
it's going to be and stuff. But college is a little different there. But I'm a Michigan fan, so I do have to say it was a little rude of y'all to whoop on them so hard in the '03 Rose Bowl. So you were a freshman that year at USC,
Yes.
rushed for 754 yards, 13 touchdowns, helped them go 11-1. I mean, winning the split national championship with LSU. Do you guys think you deserved a chance to play LSU to determine the winner, or were you like content with the split championship?
I mean, the competitor, we always wanted to play someone. We don't mind lining it up against anybody. I know a few guys from that team, and they still believe that they were the national champs. So I to settle that back then, it would have been nothing better than but to go line it up. I think our coaches should have got together and had like some type of non-official scrimmage or something like that. That would have been dope. But I definitely believe that we were champions because we came back the next year, undefeated, beat the crap out of OU in that Orange Bowl. Then we came back undefeated again for the next year. We played Texas in that national championship game. Everybody knows the outcome of that. We lost. And I mean, but when you just think about the longevity and what we were able to do in those 3 years, like LSU, they were pretty good, but they fell off after that one. We were still there.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that championship game against, Texas, Vince Young, the 3 rushing touchdowns. One of them was the game sealer. I mean, and then the next year in the draft, you were, picked up by Tennessee, number 45, where Vince Young was the quarterback. Like,
Yeah.
personally, I'm competitive. I can hold a bit of a grudge. Like, how did your first interactions with him go now on the same team instead of, duking it out? Like, was there some shit talking back and forth? Did you guys click right away?
Well, it's crazy you say that because at the beginning I've been knowing Vince since my recruiting days. I almost went to Texas, so
Okay.
Okay.
there's never no love lost there. And what's crazy about Vince is he's such a competitor, but like when he loves you as a friend, like some of that stuff goes out the window. It's like um, when I first seen him after the Rose Bowl, we were all in Houston for the All Star game, basketball All Star game. My cousin Chauncey was a basketball guy, so we used to go down there with them. Um, I remember I was like with my guy Tyron Lou, his cousin Doodles and stuff. We were all hanging out, and I remember Vince Young pulling up, and he just hops out, and it was like he just came on and was like L Dub, we were just talking, but he never brought up the Rose Bowl game at all. It was just like, hey, if you're in Houston, you need anything, this is my city. Make sure you call me, and it's love. And then we shook hands, boom, and then it's crazy because you fast forward, like you said, I ended up getting drafted. So it was like right when that happened, I called him like right after they called me, like, yo, we going to the Titans together. This is crazy, man. So naturally, I always have beef with him because I feel like we should have won that game. But like I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of who he has become. Like just knowing his story as well. Like he might have been long overdue for that championship as well. Like so, like, and I always joke with them, myself, just at USC, we still have just as many nationals. Myself, I got just as many as his university combined. So it's all right. Sometimes you got to throw a bone.
Yeah. Yeah, and he had to earn that too. That was an incredible athletic performance to get that job done. Like you guys pushed
Yeah.
him to the limit.
No, man. I
So
mean, Vince showed you what kind of warrior he was. I mean, um, not being able to get the Heisman, being in that national championship game, I'm sure that once you know him, is like I know what fired him up or what fueled him to, probably win that game. So
Yeah.
like I can do nothing again but be excited for him, and I'm proud of him because again I know where he comes from and his struggle as well. So he deserved it.
Yeah.
I appreciate the mutual support. So coming into that Titans locker room, how was the culture difference between USC with Pete Carroll and then coming in as a rookie under Jeff Fisher?
Well, I mean, it's just different because you go from college where it's like, the ultimate goal is to go to the NFL, but you have 3 to 4 years to try to be the best you can be there. So people really ain't like wasting time. It's like you're grinding to be the best. Sometimes when you get on the next level, a lot of the people, even like the superstars or something, they say like once you get paid, they kind of tuck it or it's not really as important to them as it used to be. So and then the fan bases, like the NFL has really great fan bases, but the college sport is just a whole different ball game. Is when you go to like the Oregon Autzen Stadium, or you're going to get 60,000 fans every game screaming at the top of their lungs, and they don't care if it's raining or not. Now in the NFL, you're not having too good of a season, and it's raining. Yeah, you probably won't have a good turnout at all. And so it's like kind of it's iffy, but I think the coaches were, you just got a lot of young men that just had got money, but we still wanted to win. So I think Jeff gave us a great leash in a sense. We had great seasons there. We started off slow a few times, but we had opportunities to make the playoffs. We made the playoffs. We went 13-3, had like a second round bye. So we've had really good teams there where we had opportunities. It just injuries and other things probably just didn't give us the opportunity to get the job done.
And then being a pothead like myself, hearing the story about you hanging with Snoop Dogg at
Yeah.
USC, that's the coolest story ever, man. Like as a
Yeah.
freshman too, like tell me about that. That had to be so like pinch yourself, right? To be chilling with him.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, dog, when you going through something like that, like I said earlier, thinking about like how to think about like what you were going through. Yes, I was like a young dude with some success and I'm with Snoop Dogg and I was in awe. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't think now thinking back or even thinking about that time, I didn't realize what I had going on. Like I didn't know that I'm hanging out with Snoop Dogg at the Playboy Mansion, like any and everything you can think of, like I'm doing with this guy hanging out. And it's just like I don't know. I was just living in a dream in a sense, man. And I was just in awe. So
That's
but
incredible.
he also was a great mentor that, wanted you to do your best and still did. He demanded excellence. He wanted you to go out there and dominate on the field, and, go to practice and do the right things and stuff. But when it was time to hang out, he definitely supported you in that as well.
That's awesome. And then talking about the NFL, you'd play in 58 games combined for 2,500 yards and 24 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Uh, an absolute monster by the goal line, punching that ball into the end zone.
Yeah.
Um, you had a chance. You signed with the Denver Broncos. We were going back, to your hometown, and then that injury that had to be so tough.
Yeah,
Um,
for
you
sure.
think about where do you feel like the NFL is getting, I feel like these injuries are happening more and more. Like, what do you think about that?
Um, I can say I'm not 100% sure. I just know that it's like happening to more big time players. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's I think those injuries were happening. It just wasn't happening to like, when you said the Odell Beckham's in the Super Bowl with his knee, or like
Yeah.
the Aaron Rodgers with it. When you think about some of that stuff, it's like it's happening, but I don't know because I don't. That's a good question. I would like to go back and check like the facts on that, but I do know that like these players we're not really too fond of the new turf. Like we like the grass to try to give or do some stuff like that. I know that it sucked for me back then,
Yeah.
because just going to Denver and being at home was just an opportunity to, just give it all from my home team. It was an unbelievable dream, and then it happened. But like I said earlier, things happen the way they're supposed, not the way you want. So, my
Yeah.
calling may have been a little different. I think you had my guy Bo Scaife on here earlier this year, or one of these times. But we got into the business of the marijuana stuff, so it's like And that's where I found another true passion and love. And it's not just about, getting high or being a stoner. It's like once you find these topicals and these creams, and these different things that help you with your, with your when your knees are hurting in your joints, and instead of giving people all these opioids and just things like that, when you can find a different outlet, then it makes it a little different for you. So like that's where my love and joy comes in for that, because it's helping when you find so many cannabinoids in one plant, and this all these cannabinoids do something different or can help you do something different. So that's definitely something that I'm happy and I find joy in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad you found that. I mean, I agree with you. My mom has fibromyalgia, really bad migraines. I mean, she uses a couple different variations of CBD and stuff to help with those symptoms. But you said you had to check the facts on that. So ACL, Achilles, and other major leg injuries this year. The NFL is currently paying out $260 million this season to injured players who are probably not coming back with season-ending leg injuries.
That's crazy. Well,
So some of those numbers are insane. I mean, J.K. Dobbins, Rodgers, like you mentioned, Tre'Davious White, Kirk Cousins now, like it's been a real tough year for ACL.
Those are all major, like big time athletes, or guys that are cornerstones for their team. So yeah, I think, and I would like to see if any of these injuries happened on grass, or was they all on the new turf? You know what I mean? So, because I hear these people all the day like, get rid of this turf. We want to play on grass, and I'm a firm believer in regular grass as well.
So you and David Bakhtiari are on the same page about that?
Yeah, I'm with Bakhtiari for sure. Just it's regular stuff we grew up on our whole life. When you planting that sometimes, and it's supposed to give, the turf gives, like grass gives, the mud comes up and stuff like that. Sometimes when you plant in the turf and that the rubber or whatever it is, it's just you plant. That's what happens. Everything else caves in, but the turf doesn't move at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've seen a lot of rule changes in the name of player safety and stuff. I mean, Alex and I have kind of lamented about some of those beautiful hard hits from the early 2000s. Like, I mean,
love it.
Ray Lewis hits, those aren't a thing anymore. Like, so we like to watch some throwback games for some good hard hitting NFL. But how do you feel about the changes in the rules? Do you think they've been effective? I mean, do you think football's gotten too far away from the physicality with the rule changes?
I believe that the NFL is doing the right thing by getting these people, trying to make sure that everybody stays healthy. Naturally, like you say, we always want to see the hard hitting people flying across the middle. That's what I grew up on as well. So it's kind of sad. Even the hit that I just seen Shiloh get ejected for is like that. I don't see how that was ejectable worth. So I hate to see where the game is going in that sense, because people still need to get hit. And I think people like thinking about the injuries and stuff, I think people are getting hurt, trying not to hit people a certain way or trying to slow down and do the right thing. I think that's a part of it too. But I have to say, I do like the way they're trying to protect people, with these head injuries, because I do have friends and, some family that has played the sport, and, life after football is very rough.
Yeah, 100%. Switching gears here real quick, USC has a big opportunity this weekend against Washington.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about this game? USC's potential is sky high. Do you think they can bounce back and get a big win at home against the Washington Huskies?
I believe that the sky's the limit. I believe in Caleb Williams. It's it's tricky, man, because playing Washington and Washington with offense with Penix, and they have a solid team, so it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I can't wait to see. Like I'm a Trojan, so when we say fight on it, we mean that. So there's never a case when we ever think we're out the game or we're going to give somebody the game before it happens. I can't wait to see this though, because I had a podcast earlier that I do with USC, and it's like we have everything to still play for. Like I said, like there's everything to still play for. We're playing for recruits. We're playing for next year. We're playing for now. We're playing for pride. We're playing for everything. So, like we're going to the Big Ten, and I just seen the schedule release. We play Michigan, the Wolverines, in the Big House on, I think September like 20 something. And that's like, like we're playing for all of that. Like what what we do know is this shit isn't gonna stop. You know what I mean? So, like you might as well go put something good out there on film, man, and feel good about it because we got some really good football coming up.
Yeah, every week. That's why we love it, man. Every week.
Yeah, ain't nothing
And
like
I
it.
mean, Alex and I have been loving Caleb Williams this year, just watching him and watching our NFL teams, tank their seasons to go after him. We make jokes about that every week. Like, oh, is it the Bears this week? Is it the Commanders? Like, who's trying to tank at this point? I mean, how do you feel about Caleb Williams? Do you think he's as special as people think? Do
Yeah,
you think he's gonna be one of those players that makes it to the NFL and the success doesn't translate?
I think it's going to translate. You got to get the right coaches. It's all about coaching and
Mhm.
making sure you believe in the guy. It's like when you got Harbaugh up in Baltimore. Once they got Lamar, he
Yeah.
changed around his whole dynamic of how he coached, and got behind Lamar. And the success he has had is ridiculous. When you think about, like, I don't know, even Shanahan. I know he's a guru, but Purdy, and it's like you get with a guy that plays to their strengths. Like you want a guy that you don't want to draft Caleb and have him, I don't know, up under center and trying to drop back and be a quarterback that way. We all know that, a lot of his game comes from shotgun and doing the RPOs and doing stuff similar to what Lamar does, except for he throws the ball a lot more. So, I've seen every case of the NFL. I've seen these guys go out and, like you say, tank and get a quarterback and treat it absolutely shitty and not do right by the quarterback, and they have a great talent that's a Hall of Fame talent that they didn't put nothing behind that kid to get him to be a Hall of Famer. Then I also seen you know these not universities, sorry, but I've seen these programs that go get these hell of a quarterbacks, whether it be the Mahomes, the Aaron Rodgers, and they find a way early on. I know for you, they got the talent around these guys to win these championships, and it's like if you find a guy if you draft Caleb, then you want a coach that's going to be able to, coach him up to be the greatest Caleb, not,
Yes.
degress him in a sense. Like I've seen a guy play with a guy, y'all say earlier, we drafted him, and it's like we didn't find a way to make him greater or put him in the offense to make him greater. We just try to convert him to the system when the system should have converted to him.
Yeah, that's like what me and Amanda are dealing with. I'm a Bears fan. She's a Packers fan, and we're seeing Justin Fields and Jordan Love going through
Yeah.
some struggles. And you look at Green Bay, it's like, where's the veteran receivers? Where's the veteran weapons? He's throwing to a bunch of rookies, and
Right.
the O line's kind of not protecting them as well. And Fields has been in terrible situations in Chicago.
Right. Who is he
And
throwing to, and where's his
yeah,
protection? It's
yeah,
and then they get on TV and they say it's the quarterback. Just like, no, when you drop back and you got to throw the ball, like, what do you expect me to do? When as soon as I drop back, I have to, jump up forward, take 2 steps forward. I can't even go through my progression. So I'm with you
yeah,
guys. Like I see it for sure. Sometimes these teams like that, like I said, they get these coaches that think they can change a guy or change the guy and make a play in their system when it should be a system that they bring. If these guys are successful in a system in college and you know that, why not bring that same similar thing to the NFL? To me, it
yeah.
only makes sense. But you have these so-called gurus that oh,
Mhm.
you're gonna do it my way. It's only right. And then you have a great guy that usually busts. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Josh
Alex.
McDaniels gets fired.
Well,
Alex is speaks
Josh is
about.
has a great mind. I played for Josh. He's definitely a great minded coach, but
Yeah,
some of that shit doesn't work. You can't bring the Patriot way over here. You can't be Belichick, and you can't do that shit. Like these
yeah,
guys still make more money than you. They're making the plays on the field. So like when they start getting disgruntled or pissed off, shit happens, and there has to be
yeah,
a change.
100.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, speaking of Bill Belichick, I mean, in New England, when Tom Brady had a thought or an opinion, like they listened to him and they changed things around and they like kind of let him have a say in some of the play calling. And it went the opposite way for Aaron Rodgers. Like Alex and I
Yeah,
talked about this a couple weeks ago. Every time Aaron Rodgers would say, like, hey, I really like this guy in the preseason, they would cut him the next day.
right.
Like,
Well, yeah,
so
that's definitely a case of your organization not listening or listen because
mhm.
it's crazy when he goes to the Jets. He asks for a few people that go out and get it instantly.
Yeah.
But that's what you mean, like. But that's also just the egos of some coaches or arrogance of
Mhm.
the organization, thinking that we are better off without a guy. And yes, we've seen Aaron Rodgers. He might not be Aaron Rodgers right now, but I guarantee you he's coming back with vengeance. Like if we thought that Aaron Rodgers was going to walk off in the sunset with this injury, whatever he happened to him this year is going to piss him off. We'll see him for at least another 2 years for sure. Now he'll probably walk away after that, but he's going to give you one more great healthy season or something before he's not walking out like this. There's no way.
Do you
Yeah.
think with that Achilles injury, I mean, you've recovered for one. Do you think he can make it back this year and be successful if they keep their record going?
Have you seen him throwing a
Yeah,
ball? Like
yeah.
I've done it, and I don't know. Like I don't know what in the Kobe doctors he's seen or whoever, but I'm riding with him. I believe in A-Rod. Like I don't think he's going to do anything to jeopardize himself long term or even jeopardize the guys out there on the field. So if he's going to be able to get back out there and make plays, I know he will. So I'm anxious to see that. That's going to be something to see if he's back and if they can maintain the record, because if they lose, obviously it makes no sense. Let's get back in. You get a year off season with these guys. Like they're going to believe they see Aaron's coming back. He's healthy. The belief around that Jet thing is going to be crazy next year, but if they maintain this and he's able to, stay healthy or find a way to creep back in this around January, that'd be crazy. It'll be something you've never seen.
Yeah, it'd be an incredible story. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as a Packers fan, I mean, we've seen him go down to the Bears with a broken collarbone and then come back and take the team to the postseason. I mean, that was the season we had 5 different quarterbacks on the roster. So I've seen him do some miraculous shit and come back and make it to the postseason. So I mean, I think if anyone can do it, it's him. But it's definitely been tough seeing him over there, and then Alan Lazard, and then Devontae Adams, and just everyone that was good on our offense is just gone elsewhere. But yeah, I think
No,
I think he can come back.
Yeah, that's the life of the NFL. As soon as you think y'all have something, for some reason they don't want to pay him or they trade him. It's like, oh, let's get better value. It's like, how the hell do you get better value for a Pro Bowler or a future Hall of Famer than what he has out for now?
Yeah.
Same way we did, no shots. I mean, hey, take it how you take it. But when we let AJ Brown go and then we draft Traylon Burks, come on, you see what AJ Brown is doing right now. It's like, what were you thinking? Like, to me, it was a no-brainer to keep him anyway. Long you have Derrick Henry, hey, but I'm not a GM. I guess I don't know much of anything. So we're just former players.
You should ask Alex how he feels about Dalvin Cook.
That's what drives fans crazy. And yeah, speaking of that, you're a former running back. This whole running back, like not paying running backs, star running backs, acting like running backs aren't valuable. I don't understand. Like Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor. Pay these dudes. You've seen it up close with Derrick Henry. These dudes can kill you,
I mean, the running back is for some reason, it's the lost art of the game. But they require you to, block, protect the quarterback's backside. They also want you to get the screens and run it. They also want you to run the ball 25 times a game too. So it's ridiculous the amount of what they expect the running back to do, but what they don't want to pay the guy to do it. It's a travesty, and it's definitely disrespectful in my opinion. I believe that the NFL needs to do something about that. There's no way in hell, like I said, you have a guy that you say you want him to produce 35, 40% of the offense, but you don't want to pay him like he's only putting up, 1%. It's disrespectful.
Very disrespectful. I agree. Go ahead, Amanda. You got one?
I was just gonna, throw in some more on the running backs. I mean, we've seen so many quarterbacks go down this season, whether it's for the season or for a couple weeks. Like, it's been the season of the backup, man.
Yeah.
When your starting quarterback goes out, the guy who can make those plays, you have to turn to the run game.
Right.
And you're underpaying running backs or not wanting to pay them, and you let them go. I mean, who's going to run that game for you?
Well, we're kind of seeing it up there in Dallas. I think they kind of should have we all knew TP was coming, but you still, you give Zeke a little bit of hush money, let him still, because it benefits your offense. Just like, even up there, and they let Zach go in Buffalo. He's having him and JT are going crazy down there, in Indy right now. I don't understand how, you have such a good weapon, and you think that you could just give them away and replace them with somebody else so quickly. It's mind blowing to me. I don't know how some of these guys are on the bench still or sitting at home waiting to be called. I just seen my guy playoff. Lenny got picked up.
Yeah,
I seen them quads. You got some quads. Somebody's gonna have a bad day. You got him in. You get him in, and he gets 10 strong games. He's gonna get better as the season progresses. So I don't know. it's amazing to see how they disrespect the running back, but us the CMCs of the world or the Derrick Henrys, or when you look and see like the teams that are having major success, usually the guy that's behind the quarterback is the reason why.
Yeah, 100%. Are you looking at? I think the playoffs this season are going to be incredible. Like the AFC is absolutely loaded with the Jags coming up, the Ravens coming up, the Chiefs maybe taking a step back a little bit. Cincy is as dangerous as ever. The NFC, the Niners and the Eagles just keep getting better. I can't wait for the playoffs this year. Do you have someone you're keeping an eye on to win the whole thing this year?
Man, honestly, I'm just a football fan. So whoever, goes. I'm a Tom Brady guy. He just retired. So I gotta
Yeah.
find out the next guy. I love Lamar Eugene Jackson as
Yeah.
well. I'm a Titan guy. So like, yeah, I don't know, man. I also like to see like the guy that has never won win something as well. So I don't
Yeah.
like to see the repeat unless it was Tom. So but yeah, I actually hope that the Titans find a way to tighten up and get this shit done this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I
Will
mean,
Levis, man.
Yeah,
I was gonna
Will
say I picked
Levis
them to
and
win tonight. The game
Who's
was
the-
tied up the last time I checked on it, 10-10 at the half. Oh,
oh
the
that's good.
Titans are up right now, 13-10.
Oh,
Come
that's
on,
good.
Pittsburgh.
Nah,
No, no,
man,
no,
I gotta
Alex.
go.
The Titans got
Yeah,
this one.
I actually got to get on another damn Zoom in like 15 minutes, and I got to go do something. So,
Okay. Well, we
unfortunately,
really
man,
appreciate it, man. It was an honor having you on the show. It's great to talk with you. You're an absolute legend, man. You're one of our favorites.
I truly appreciate it. I'm sorry it took so long for me to finally jump on, but it's
Oh,
You're
been an
good.
honor and fun, chopping it up with you guys. There's nothing like talking football for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll take
absolutely.
it back anytime you want to come on.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll definitely let you know. We could definitely do this again soon.
All right.
Sounds great.
Appreciate everyone for checking it out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Stay tuned, follow along, and have a great week, guys. Peace out.